How serious was the corruption among the Afghanistan government to this mission failing there?
Well, first of all, the mission hasn't failed yet. There is, in Afghanistan, and all parties, there's been corruption. The question is, can there be an agreement on unity of purpose? What is the objective? For example, it started off there were going to be negotiations between the Taliban and the Afghan National Security Forces and the Afghan government. That didn't come to fruition. So the question now is, where do they go from here? That the jury is still out, but the likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
دا هغه عسکران دي چې تېره شپه د جوزجان ولایت مرکز په ساحه کې مجاهدینو په وسلهوالو د 12 کسه اسیران مردار شوه او دغه 13 کسه یې هم په بل ځای کې اسیران شول.
Let's talk about what's going on in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is literally on the brink of being the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. And the Taliban, who are being funded by foreign countries, are just terrorizing the innocent people of Afghanistan. Because of this war, innocent lives have been lost, families have been torn apart, thousands upon thousands of people are homeless. They just want to live their lives in peace. Now this is where you and I can come in to help. Now there is a link in my bio in which you can donate. The money will go to food, water, and shelter for the people of Afghanistan. If you guys can't donate, spread awareness by sharing this video, start a chain in the comments or, tag a friend. Now, if we don't speak up, no one will, and it's our responsibility to help those who are calling out to us. Assalamu alaikum.
I am lost.
Afghanistan is falling apart, but where is the Afghan army? The Afghanistan military is falling apart because the Afghanistan government is not supporting their troops. No guidance and no supplies are coming to the troops who need it the most, and that is why they are leaving. They are not going to stick around and get slaughtered by the Taliban because their government doesn't know what they're doing. But hey, if you want to join the conversation, join my Discord by going to the link in my bio, and I'd love to hear from you guys.
Afghanistan before Taliban came.
Attack that bitch sit on my face. I attack that.
Check it out.
Hi, I'm a disabled veteran, and on behalf of all veterans, I'm gonna need you to stop asking us to have an answer to the complex problem that is Afghanistan. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I saw Biden's speech, and how do I feel about it? I have no idea.
He made a lot of good points, like how can we be expected to send American men and women to fight for something that the Afghanistan army won't fight for? I helped train the ANA. I know what they're like, and I feel conflicted about it. I'm also a medic, so just seeing the pain and suffering that's happening in Kabul right now and the rest of Afghanistan is heartbreaking to me, and I want us to do something about it. But I also understand it's been 20 years of conflict.
I don't have an answer, because I don't think there's a good one.
And I'm gonna get on my platform and bitch and moan about the whole situation because I feel complex about it.
Stop demanding easy answers from me.
They don't exist. And it's not my job, or any veteran's job, to have that answer for you. We're allowed to have these incredibly complex and confusing and often conflicting feelings about the war we fought in.
And if you can't feel some sort of compassion for the young men and women and all the non-binaries that are in the closet, that we sent overseas for the last 20 years because you just hate American imperialism so bad, again ignoring that there are 41 other countries in the ISAF, which was in Afghanistan, so it's weird that you only pick the one.
You lack empathy. That's where that sentence was supposed to end. If you can't understand that the veterans of this war that has been going on for 20 years are also the victims in all this, then you do not understand what you're talking about, and you should keep your opinions to yourself. But you won't. So I'll just keep being here, calling you fools, and doing these snap zooms most of you don't like. But they keep you paying attention, so I'm gonna keep doing them.
This sucks. A lot of us sacrificed our health and our mental well-being and our futures to help people on the other side of the planet, only for us to come home to a country, half of whom hold us up as political props, and the other half demonize us for trying to help. Also, being the victims of end-stage capitalism, creating an environment in which you cannot escape poverty unless you join the military, all so that we could watch as the enemy that we fought for 2 generations took over the country without a fight.
I'm furious that the army didn't fight, even though I understand a lot of the reasons that they didn't do it. I'm also aware that we funded insurgents in Afghanistan in the 70s. It's not that hot a take. Everybody already knows about that. Get a new talking point.
Uh-oh, you've shown a little emotion in your TikTok, and people are going to see that as a sign of weakness and mock you for it.
Pretty sure this video was doomed from the start. I am asking the internet to exercise nuance.
Oh, the Punjab Bachia! Rasa the Punjab Walama! Bas! The Punjabi Hey!
Right in front of us. Fuck. Wish you could drop one right in the middle.
Dude 1, dude 4, cleared hot. Where the fuck is that coming from?
That's behind us.
Dude 1, how copy clearance? Copy, weapons away. Say, time till impact.
Man, they're fucking here now.
Roger, 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Well, 1, 2. Still taking fire here. Move down.
Hey, we need to get down.
Hey, get down, Doc.
He copies from Tango 02 that he's missing a TG2 over. Roger, is he on the way down to the location over? He's coming right now.
Got it.
Can you move at this time over?
Who's he talking to?
1, 2.
Take it. Roger, 1, 2. I need you guys to exfil that position. Can you move at this time over? Roger, I can move, but I'm waiting on 03 and Doom, over. Roger. 03, 01. What's the status, over?
30 seconds.
Roger, 30 seconds to impact, and we're still taking fire.
Okay, Roger. Can you move to your position? Hold your withdrawal.
Negative, not this time. About 15 seconds to impact.
Oh shit. The rounds are hitting right in front of us. That was our bombs.
Huh?
That was our bombs.
No, both of them. There's 2 bombs.
Yeah. Roger, I copied 2 of them.
We still got some.
We still got some fire from the south of that location in a tree line.
American troops cannot and should not be fighting in a war and dying in a war that Afghan forces are not willing to fight for themselves. We spent over $1 trillion. We trained and equipped an Afghan military force with some 300,000 strong, incredibly well equipped, a force larger in size than the militaries of many of our NATO allies. We gave them every tool they could need. We paid their salaries, provided for the maintenance of their Air Force, something the Taliban doesn't have. Taliban does not have an Air Force. We provided close air support. We gave them every chance to determine their own future. What we could not provide them was the will to fight for that future.
People so desperate to get out of Afghanistan, which is being taken over by the Taliban, that they're clinging to the undercarriage of a US Air Force plane leaving the country. People so desperate to get out of Afghanistan, which is being taken over by the Taliban, that they're clinging to the undercarriage of a US Air Force plane leaving the country.
How do you exit a 20-year war? It's a tough question, but perhaps the US's withdrawal from Afghanistan, done in a hasty, almost haphazard manner, isn't the best example. As we get closer to President Biden's August 31st deadline for ending the US military mission there, the news out of the country is increasingly worrying. European Union officials estimated today that Taliban insurgents now run 65% of Afghanistan after a series of skirmishes with Afghans across parts of the country. The UN estimates that almost 30 children have been killed in just the last 3 days of fighting between government forces and the Taliban, and more than 1,000 civilians have been killed in the past month. If 20 years of this US-led war in Afghanistan has only left that country on the brink of collapse again, with the Taliban resurging to power again, and with everyday Afghans bearing the brunt of the conflict, as they have always been, it should make us question what we've been doing there for 2 decades. And the thing is, this sobering reality isn't a product only of our Afghan debacle. The months and years following 9/11 bore witness to the US invasion and occupation of Iraq, then a secretive and often unchecked drone war across several countries, from Pakistan to Somalia to Yemen, the backing of a violent NATO-led regime change campaign in Libya, supporting of rebels in Syria, many of whom were found linked to regional extremist groups, and wars in countries across Africa so hidden under a set of classified programs that even US lawmakers weren't aware of some of them. I mean, remember when 4 US servicemen were killed during a raid in Niger in 2017? And no one seemed to know why.
We don't know exactly where we're at in the world militarily and what we're doing. And if we don't like what the military does, we can defund the operation. But I didn't know there was 1,000 troops in Niger.
Our military campaigns abroad became so normalized that in 2016, the US found itself dropping 26,171 bombs on 7 countries: Iraq, Syria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Libya, Yemen, and Somalia. Maybe, just maybe, it's become easy for many of us in the US to tune out when it comes to what the US military does abroad in our name, to think it doesn't affect us here at home.
The people of Afghanistan need you. Please boost this video because Afghanistan is facing a triple threat. The first being the COVID-19 pandemic, the second being climate change crisis in the shape of a severe drought, and the third and the worst one is Taliban taking over the country since the US troops are withdrawing from Afghanistan. Since the end of the Taliban's rule in 2001, in the past 20 years, Afghanistan made great progress. in terms of democracy, women's rights, girls' education, and overall improving the lives of Afghan people. Unfortunately, it is all falling apart, and the world remains silent. More than 400,000 people have been internally displaced, 80% of whom are women and children. Over on Instagram, I have shared profiles of Afghan activists and also links to various fundraisers. We must stand with Afghanistan.